Here are 15 of the best Ask Reddit stories for today. I hope you enjoy and remember to subscribe. It really helps us out. We post new videos every day.
What would happen to an astronaut who took off his helmet in space for a few seconds?
When the helmet is removed, the following things will happen. His head would be exposed to about minus 270 degrees Celsius, that is if it is protected by the shadow of our planet. The air in your lungs is forced out of your body because the surroundings are a vacuum. You'll have 15 seconds before the oxygen in your bloodstream dries up. Your circulatory system doesn't know there's a lack of oxygen, so it circulates blood throughout your body even if there's no oxygen. That really takes a toll on your system, especially your brain. The sun's radiation would hit you with an insane intensity that would hurt you even if you somehow made it out alive.
Just found out that my husband fills the dog's water dish not from the tap, but from the fridge's water purifier feature. When I asked him why he does this, he said, she'd do the same for me.
This is not a fun fact. Horses can't throw up, so if they eat something bad, or get a bad gas bubble, they just lay down and die. Valentine's Day is a holiday with one of the highest suicide rates. People who survive the Holocaust and get Alzheimer's often think they are back in the camps, so they escaped one of humanity's greatest horrors only to die in it 50 years later. Bus seats are designed so that you cannot tell how dirty they really are. The FBI estimates there are between 25-50 active serial killers in the US at any given time. Urine was used for teeth whitening and bleaching of clothes in ancient Rome. Yes, they rinsed their mouth with human and animal urine.
What do you think is the biggest secret being kept from mankind? That there are people in the world that are richer than the known richest people in the world. If you are that rich you can afford to be anonymous too. I'm not saying that Jeff Bezos isn't rich. I'm sure he is. I just believe that there are a tiny group of people that have more wealth than Bezos and that they've used that wealth to hide the fact that they are that wealthy from the world. People that are secretly alive but dead for the public life and vice versa. When I was younger I read a story in the news of a company that had come up with a bacteria that they would put into your mouth. This bacteria was harmless to people but ate the bacteria that damages our teeth. It would have destroyed the dental industry. For some reason I never saw it again. True history. I genuinely believe that there have been things discovered in the past that tell a different story of the past and are intentionally hidden.
Legal Life Pro Tips. Part 1. Put an already broken laptop in your luggage and file a damage claim with the airline. If you see someone stealing food or diapers, no you didn't. Next time you rent a car, show up to get it on crutches and ask for help getting into the car. 9/10 times the agent will see you struggling and give you a free upgrade to a larger vehicle for free. When fooling someone, make sure to fool them again so that the shame is then shifted onto them. Always keep something expensive but broken in your car, so their insurance pays to replace it from the crash. In your opinion, who is the biggest psychopath of all time and why? Anders Behring Breivik definitely takes the cake for me. Blew up a bomb in the center of Oslo. Meanwhile went to an island where a politic youth gathering was taking place. Dressed up as a cop he would kill 69 people on the island Utia and call out to teenagers hiding saying it was safe to come out. Those who believed his costume were shot. Toy box killer. I read some of the transcripts from his tapes and I couldn't finish it. They haunt me. Israel Keys. Dude picked people at random to kill and planned it months in advance. Would travel to places and hide at Kill Bucket and come back months later to kill.
Short story completely mind screwed you. A wise man sat along with the audience and cracked a joke. Everybody laughed like crazy. After a moment, he cracked the same joke again. This time, less people laughed. He cracked the same joke again and again, and the moment when there is no laughter in the crowd, he smiled and said, "You can't laugh at the same joke again and again. But why do you cry over the same thing over and over again?"
Men. What's the hardest thing to explain to women? I was at home. When my wife and her friends got home, they were all giving me funny looks and smirking. I asked what was going on. They at first refused to tell me. After a little while of prodding, one of them goes, "I heard all about your dick." And they all broke into laughter. I was like, "Oh yay. Hopefully all good." And they laughed. And that was the end of it. After they left, I was like, "What the hell did you tell them?" And my wife responded by saying how she told her friends about our vigorous romps on our honeymoon. Apparently in great detail. She was like, "Whatever. You probably tell your friends all about us when it's just the boys. I don't know about you guys. But the extent of what I ever say is usually a raised eyebrow and something like, "Ah yeah booey." I have never once described my wife's body to a single one of my friends and it blew her mind. Apparently girls talk in great detail about it. Guys usually don't. And they assume we do. And we assume they don't. Guys, why did you reject the pretty girl? I accidentally turned down a girl I had a massive crush on in middle school. I convinced myself she was the one I was going to end up with. Turns out she actually liked me too. Well, one day we were on the train home after school and her friends disappeared to another carriage, leaving her and I alone together. She asked, "Hey." I was wondering, "Do you have a crush on me?" As she leaned in hopefully for my answer. How did I react to this situation? I started rummaging through my school backpack pretending I was looking for something, and changed the subject to some dumb thing. She leaned back in her seat and looked visibly disappointed. Now why did I do this? You ask. Because I'd heard the statistics of how unlikely relationships were to last if they started at that age. I was going to wait 5 more years until we'd left school before I made my move. Because then it would last. I told myself. Of course. I waited so long that she eventually lost interest and we drifted away. Yeah. Teenage me had some. What highly illegal thing took place at your high school? 2 students who were not much into studies planned and carried out a coordinated attack on one of the math teachers. They stood by the top of the stairs between periods, waiting for the math teacher to pass. And when he passed by them to go down the steps, one of them pushed him from behind while the other put his leg out to trip him. We all heard the scream and came out of our classes to see what happened. The teacher fell down the steps and broke his neck and back and was paralyzed from the neck down. We ran towards the teacher to pick him up and help him while the 2 kids were watching us from top of the stairs. The kids were called to the principal office and when asked why did they do that, the kids' reasoning. Because one of them was dropped from the basketball team because he was failing that teacher's math class and he wanted a revenge. Both of them were 15 years old. So they didn't get jail time, they both got expelled and were sent to juvenile detention. The teacher sued the school district and got a settlement in the lower 7-digit range. They literally ruined his life but weren't punished more severely. We all felt bad for the teacher.
We'll talk about hairstyles later, let's talk about the guy on a bicycle.
Kids born to teen moms. How different is your life compared to other kids? My mom and I are really close. She had me at 16. Growing up, I noticed a lot of my friends didn't get along with their moms. I always thought she was really relatable. We go eat, go shopping, get coffee, gossip, just hang out. She worked a lot, sometimes multiple jobs at once. So I felt like I did less extracurricular than my friends. But I was pretty happy growing up. She is always concerned with money. I'm starting to notice that she's not very good at saving money, or planning retirement and whatnot. I once asked a family friend now that us kids are grown, how are my parents still living paycheck to paycheck? She explained that, in her opinion, my mom basically skipped learning how to take care of herself as an adult. Instead of learning how to effectively adult, she focused on taking care of her kids. I will forever be grateful for my mom and the hard work. What's the dumbest way you've managed to get laid? Met a girl and asked her out to dinner. She agreed. Few nights later we are out. As we are concluding dinner I tell her the dessert at this restaurant sucks but I have some better dessert at my place. I was being sincere. As I had some homemade dessert a coworker's wife had made me recently and it was delicious, still some of the best fudge brownies I've ever had. And I had some vanilla ice cream to pair with it. We go back. And she asks to use the bathroom. I go to the kitchen to prep dessert while singing. I soon hear her call my name from the bedroom. Bedroom was connected to bathroom by closet, which I found odd. I prepared the dessert and walked in the room. Girl is very naked and in a position of preparedness for lack of a better term. And I'm standing there dumbfounded with a big bowl full of brownies and ice cream with 2 spoons. The sex was great. And the brownies afterward were bangin'. By far one of my more eventful evenings. She and I never really went anywhere. Relationship. People who cater to the super rich. What things have you seen? Worked graveyards as a valet at an ultra-luxury boutique hotel. It's quite shocking how some of these people live and you'd never have a clue by just looking at them on the street. One weekday night I was asked at 2 a.m. by a guest to bring around his Bentley. Regular-looking dude came out with a backpack. Got in and left. Not 30 minutes later the same dude pulls up in a Ferrari and now has a briefcase instead of backpack. Skip ahead an hour and the same guy orders 5 shot glasses to his room. I go up and it's 2 guys in robes and 2 naked ladies on the couch. They have lines of coke and booze on the coffee table. They tip me $50 for the shot glasses and I leave. 2 hours later, just as the sun was rising, the 2 guys come out together in suits looking like they were heading to the office. The ladies left shortly after. Obviously drugs and escorts were nothing new, but the car swap middle of the night was a bit strange. It was for the girls. Sorry. This is a 2-seater.